Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. Midterm elections are just months away, and no matter what you hear, the truth is Democrats do have a strong chance of taking over the House of Representatives if history is any guide. What does that mean? Well, in the short term, it means that Nancy Pelosi will get unfettered subpoena power. Maxine Waters is likely to be chairman of the Financial Services Committee. It will be a big deal. But more broadly, it means an ascendant Democratic Party, and not the party you grew up with, but a new and far more radical and far more intolerant version of that party. How radical? Well, last night we showed you the violence. Tonight we have exclusive new material, the product of our reporting. Just 2 weeks ago, progressive activists held a convention in New Orleans called Netroots Nation. Happens every year. Virtually every major Democrat running for president went. By the fast-evolving standards of the left, Netroots Nation is a mainstream gathering. It's not a fringe event. Well, this show sent an investigative team to Netroots Nation to find out what the Democratic Party is becoming. The very first thing we noticed is that socialism, long discredited by nearly a century of murder and suffering, is reemerging and moving toward the center of democratic politics.
What I see is not a time for moderation. It's a time for progressives to double down on what we believe in.
The establishment is terrified of that word, socialism. But if we learned one thing from the Obama years, it's that Republicans are going to call us socialists no matter what we do. So we might as well give them the real thing.
Might as well give them real socialism. The crowd cheers. Just 10 years ago, Democrats nodded to the idea of border security. They said they were for it. Now, the very idea of immigration enforcement of any kind, of borders themselves, is considered repugnant on the left.
I happen to believe that an agency that has repeatedly, systematically, and violently committed human rights abuses cannot be reformed.
Just imagine, no wall. No wall in southern Arizona.
Disagree with that? Think open borders are a bad idea? You're not simply wrong in the eyes of the new left. You're immoral.
The Republicans will continue to practice the politics of division. They will keep right on attacking anyone who dares to stand up to the rich and the powerful.
Do you need to wait for Robert Mueller to tell you Trump is wildly corrupt?
We must defeat a Republican Party which has sold its soul to a Republican president without one.
The president has no soul. Republicans are in the pocket of the rich, says the hedge fund private equity party. The president, of course, denounced as a racist, while actual race baiters like Maxine Waters, who once encouraged a race riot, were lauded as heroes.
We're not going to let you come to Ohio, President Trump, and do your race baiting and make your racial statements, whether it's LeBron James or Maxine Waters or anybody else. That ain't playing anymore, President Trump.
Well, ironically, for a gathering they said was designed to empower the marginalized, voters of color, as they say, attendees at this event tended to skew much older, paler, and more affluent. Well, a group of progressive activists noticed this, and a group of them stormed the stage during Saturday's keynote speeches. They demanded more black representation, and they promised to drink the crowd's, quote, white tears.
That white fragility is showing. Those white tears are showing. But guess what? I'm ready to drink them. Because we are going to be on the board. You're going to let us on the board. And you're going to fight for us to be on the board of Netroots.
Ready to drink white tears. Well, in an effort to atone for their skin color, organizers did what they could to attack white America. Among the books distributed at the event was one called Brown is the New White, How Demographic Revolution Has Created a New American Majority. One poster we found said that one of the, quote, challenges for American democracy is that white voters are able to vote and elect officials. In any other venue, that would, of course, be described as racism, but it was normal at Netroots. And then there were the bizarre portions of the program, and there were a lot of those. One well-attended panel dealt with the matter of, quote, menstrual equity. This is the latest frontier in the civil rights movement, in case you've been on vacation. One elected Democrat from Virginia we spoke to said male access to tampons is a vital and important emerging issue.
We're not sure how many men who are menstruating based on transgender surgeries or other ways that they're transforming.
We're not sure how many men are menstruating. Happily, the Democratic Party is trying to find out even as you sleep. It went on like this. This is what the Democratic Party is running on in 2018. The end of free enterprise, vicious attacks on a huge portion of the American population solely because of their skin color, tampons in men's bathrooms. This is a movement that seeks to end borders and create a world where there are only two kinds of people: the 320 million American citizens who live here, you and me, and the 7 billion U.S. citizens who haven't gotten around to moving here yet, but have every right to move here when they feel like it. That would be the rest of the world. That's what utopia looks like if you're a member of the New York Times editorial board. But what if you're not? What if you're just an ordinary voter? Is any of this appealing? We'll find out in November.